The big question everyone has about Social Security is, when should you start it? If you're approaching age 62, now you have the opportunity to turn it on and start claiming your benefits, but should you file or should you wait? We'll talk about that today. Why people claim at 62, why people claim at full retirement age, why does it matter, and what do you do if you don't need that income? We'll talk about all that coming up next on My Retirement Clarity.
Welcome to the My Retirement Clarity podcast, where our goal is simple, to help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement. The team at Perkins Wealth Management does this by helping good people make great decisions so they can enjoy an amazing retirement. And now, here's your host and financial advisor, Lee Perkins.
Hello, welcome in. I'm Ben George with Lee Perkins at Perkins Wealth Management in Macon, Georgia. And Lee, we're going to jump into this Social Security conversation, but kind of wrapping up the year, close to Christmas now. How's everything in the office? You guys getting your final bit of work done here before the holidays?
Yeah, a lot of year-end tax planning going on right now. We've got clients dropping gifts and goodies, mostly things that our staff can eat by the office.
That's great.
It's a fun time of year, but obviously a little busy time for us as we kind of do some last-minute tax planning for people. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then, of course, when the calendar turns, we'll be off to a brand new year, brand new tax year, and we'll see what happens in 2026.
Yeah, for sure. I know it's a great year ahead. I know this year's been busy. Lots happening this year, and we're glad you've been part of the show throughout. And we'll be covering a lot of stuff moving forward. And again, we cover a lot of retirement topics just from an evergreen perspective. But obviously, when there's bigger news like the government shutdown, like tariffs, that sort of thing, we'll do our best to cover that stuff. But hopefully we won't have too many headlines in the new year, Lee, but that's probably asking a little too much, right?
Yeah, there's always something going on. And there's always one of the things that people ask me when they come in the office is this a good time to invest or is something going on? There's always going to be a reason to not invest. So if you want to wait till the perfect time to invest you're never going to do it.
No, absolutely. Well, if you have questions today, again, we always encourage you to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. 478-254-3550 is the number for the office. But if you want to get on Lee's calendar now, you can do that at talkwithjlp.com. So the question today, Lee, when do we start Social Security? Do we start at 62 or we wait? So I want to look at this from a couple of different angles, but let's just start with why people file at 62. I know that's when you have the chance to claim, but what are the main reasons why somebody would file early?
I would tell you it's a couple of different reasons, probably three of the most popular reasons. Number one, somebody needs the money.
Okay.
Number two, somebody thinks it's not going to be there if they delay. And then number three, because they want to enjoy more of this money on the front end retirement when they're young enough and healthy enough to do it than on the back end when they may not be able to do the things that they can do now. So that's probably the three of the top ones. But I would tell you nowadays, most people are a little suspicious about whether or not Social Security is going to be there when they're later. So they're like, I'm going to go ahead and get mine. And that answer has changed over the last few years. And I don't know if it's because of the political climate that we're in, where we're kind of less trusting of government. But I run into more and more people that are like, yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be there. I don't think that's a valid concern for most of the people that we're seeing here, or real concern. It may be a valid concern for them, but I don't think it's a real concern because most of the people that are coming in our office are, mid 50s, late 50s or older. I think you're going to get what they tell you you're going to get. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about it going away, because and my evidence for that is, who's the politician that is going to cut Social Security for somebody who either is already getting Social Security, who's going to get it in 2 years? There's not one, because the one who does that is not going to get reelected. And so if you remember, the number one job, this is my theory, it may not be right. The number one job of a politician is to get reelected. Mm-hmm. Okay. The number two job, I think, is to spend taxpayers' money. But so because of that, they're not going to do something like that would jeopardize their position in office. But at some point, somebody's going to have to make a decision to address Social Security. So what I think the more likely scenario is, they may reduce benefits for people that are younger. And if they do that for people, and they've done it in the past, but if they say for people that are, in their 30s now, your full retirement age is until 70, and you can't, the earliest you can claim it is 64, 65. Those people are watching TikTok videos. That doesn't impact them too much because it's too far from now. So the suspicion is always there. And that's one of the things that makes people claim at age 62.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of different reasons for it. I mean, some of them are justified. Some might just be, hey, I just want to get it going and don't really think through the planning aspect of it, but that's a big part of it. So before we kind of dive into a few more on claiming early, let's talk about why people actually wait to that full retirement age. I'm sure it's just, hey, a bigger benefit, but there's some other planning ideas that go into that, right?
Yeah. So the whole idea of waiting till, somebody is full retirement age, which that varies, depending on the year that you were born. Most of the time, those people are like, I want to get the most amount of money that I can, not the most, but they want to get 100% of the benefit. And they don't feel like they want to take a partial benefit, which is what happens if you claim it early. So sometimes they want to maximize that benefit and get 100% of what's coming to them. And that's fine. So sometimes they want to maximize the benefit and get 100% of what's coming to them. If they are still working, that's an easy decision because of the earnings test. Because if you're still working past the age of 62 and you're eligible for Social Security, you could basically work yourself out of a Social Security benefit. So if you're planning to work to 66 or 67 years old, then you don't take Social Security. But once you reach that magical full retirement age, you can earn whatever you want and it will not impact your Social Security. So lots of times it's simply a dollar amount game that people are trying to figure out what's best for them. But I would rather the question that I pose to a lot of clients is, can you delaying your Social Security for 2 years? Maybe it makes a $300 a month difference in your pension check. So that number is whatever it is. Can you cut $300 out of your budget that would have the same bottom line impact on your monthly cash flow? Can you do that and then get 2 more years in retirement? I think that's a better scenario and a better thing to continue, to ask yourself. Same dollars. So something that I think a lot of people should consider.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons for both, right? There's a lot of pros and cons to doing either. But again, it's about having a plan for what aligns with your goals and your needs for income and your health, your long-term strategies there. So it all comes into play. But I want to kind of circle back to 62, Lee. So if you do decide, all right, I'm ready to file, but you don't need the income. And you might say, well, why would you do that if that's the case? But I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't need the income, but they go ahead and turn it on because either they feel like it's running out or, hey, I've been paying into it, I'm ready to get something back. What can you do with that money if you don't need it for income? What are some ways to actually utilize it?
Well, before you make that decision, I always tell people, think that out, think through that decision and be intentional about the plans that you make. A lot of people do want to turn on that benefit, just invest the money. I think people have really good intentions with that, but I would tell you in reality, that doesn't play out the way people think it should or think that it's going to. So, because that money winds up just getting spent, which is fine. Because, think about if you got a raise at your job, what we tell people to do, elevate your standard of living just a little bit if you get a raise, but then accelerate your savings. And that's tough for a lot of people to do. But if you do that, you're going to wake up in 30 years in the same job and you're going to have a bunch of money saved for retirement. Kind of the same way people that want to save this Social Security, if that's your plan, then save it. Have that direct deposited into an account that you don't have access to and that's automatically invested, dollar cost averaging into the market every month. And then that's how you can basically accelerate and have a purpose for that Social Security. And it doesn't just disappear. Because for me and in my house, if we're not intentional about our savings and we just have an extra $500 in our checking account or an extra $1,000 or $2,000, it will get spent. It'll go away. I don't know, Ben, if you've got spenders at your house, but yep. I got a house full of them, and we have to be intentional about those savings. Or that money, it'll go away.
Hey folks, Lee Perkins here. I wanted to tell you about our brand new book called Next Phase, How to Retire in a Year or Less Without Regrets. It's all about helping you prepare for the next phase of your life, whatever that looks like for you. So, if you're ready to make the most of your next phase, or if you're already retired and aren't sure you're doing all you can to get the most out of your retirement, then you'll want a copy of this book. All you have to do is text Next Phase to 478-475-2050 and we'll send you a copy right away. You can also access additional resources and register for one of our upcoming workshops at our website, www.myretirementclarity.com. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
Yeah, if you don't see it, then you don't have it, right? Just stock it away and don't even think about it until it's time to actually use it, or else, it'll burn a hole in your pocket and you'll be ready to spend it. So again, have a plan for Social Security, whether or not it's 62 or 67. But if you do want to claim it early, if you are kind of hell bent on, hey, I want to get these benefits and I want to start claiming them, I want to make sure I'm taking advantage of that, then have a plan for what you're going to do with the money. So very important.
Yeah. Yeah, let me jump in and say one more thing. Talk about the potential. Some people sometimes wanting to maybe delay Social Security or the impact of taking it earlier. One of the things that I think sometimes people discount the value of thinking through is spousal benefits. Mm-hmm. Now, I know 6, 7, 8 years ago, they changed some of the loopholes in Social Security claiming strategies where you could file and suspend and a spouse could claim on a benefit. Now, basically, both spouses have to be full retirement age to take advantage of some of those things. But if one spouse has a much larger Social Security than the other, there can be a benefit for the larger Social Security delaying that if the lower Social Security earner would be in financial jeopardy if they just had a lower benefit when the other one retires. So there can be some things that can come into play that can make sure that surviving spouse is better taken care of if the numbers are going to be tight. So again, one of the things that we do for our clients is we put it in the planning software and play it out. We're going to show an early death for the higher Social Security earner just to see what the financial impact of the death is. And I think that's an important thing to do. People don't like to talk about it because you have to face the reality of death, but the stats are there. 100% of us are going to die. And if you can plan on it financially, put you in a better spot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's kind of close out just by kind of walking us through the process at JL Perkins Wealth Management a little bit. You kind of explained a lot of the considerations, but is there anybody that you can remember, a client that's come in that's kind of been in a similar scenario where either they thought, hey, I definitely want to claim at 62, Lee, and then you kind of work through the process and kind of help them figure out the best plan of attack? Just kind of take us inside the planning a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, so I'll kind of flip it just a little bit and tell you somebody who was considering delaying Social Security claiming strategy just a little bit. And we went through the situation and found out that it makes sense to claim early. They wanted to delay it, and actually they needed the money. It was about $1,500 a month, and they really kind of needed the money, but they wanted to delay and take it later. And I said, well, if you need the money, that means you're going to have to take that $1,500 a month from somewhere. So we modeled out them taking the money from their retirement savings and compared that with taking the money from Social Security. And it worked out better taking this Social Security first because the dollars weren't that far off. But what I told them at the end of the day is there's not going to be a beneficiary on your Social Security, but there will be a beneficiary on your money. So why not spend the Social Security money first? Give your money time to grow a little bit more, and at the end of the day, you're gonna be better off. Because remember, couple household that's got 2 Social Securities, the surviving spouse is only going to get 1 Social Security. So let's get as much as we can early on. If you'd have met me 8 or 10 years ago, Ben, I would do a Social Security workshop, show a big graph, and I'd show you how to get the most amount of benefit over your lifetime. And I would say, and I can remember my words, I can show you how I can get you $70,000 or $90,000 more over your lifetime. But I'm playing that out to age 90 and all, 90, 95. That maths, but that's not reality because 10 years from 62 to 72 are a whole lot different than the 10 years from 82 to 92. And almost to the number, my clients that are over 84 years old, all their Social Security is just going into the bank and they're not spending it. So it's not enhancing their lifestyle. So I want I don't want to maximize your Social Security, the dollar amount over your lifetime. I want to maximize what you can do, the impact it can make in your retirement while you're young enough to do it. So, that's a big, I have that conversation 2 or 3 times a month. I really do.
Yeah, you got to kind of reframe the way you're thinking about Social Security and how you're going to put it to use. But this is what a good, financial advising team can help you with. And that's what J.L. Perkins Wealth Management does every day. And Lee, this is the exact kind of thing you would reach out and schedule a call with you on. And this is a great kind of starting point, right? Is, hey, I'm getting close to retirement age and I'm getting close to 62. I'm trying to just put the numbers together. This is a great starting point on getting this right and then kind of building from there.
100%. So the phone calls, you give out the phone number and how to book a call on the calendar. Those phone calls are generally going to be, let's figure out what's your biggest concern. What are the challenges that you think you're facing? And let's have a brief 10 or 15 minute conversation about whether or not we think we can help you with those challenges. Then after that, we'll schedule a time to meet where we dig into these things a little bit more and start playing out the scenarios that you want to consider. We'll then go back, put all those things into the various softwares, and then we'll get together and show you each of the scenarios side by side, and we'll let the software and let our conversation dictate those decisions. And it's such a valuable thing to do. We don't charge people to do that. And hopefully at the end of those conversations and those meetings, people see enough value in what we provide to them to partner with us and become clients of our firm. And, it's a great thing when people can sort of see the value that we provide and say, man, I'm glad I'm not trying to do this by myself, because you guys did the work to show us what we wanted to see, but we couldn't figure out on our own.
I love that. Talkwithjlp.com. That is the website to book a time right now to meet with Lee. Talkwithjlp.com, or you can call the office there, 478-254-3550. But as we turn the page of the new year, it's a great opportunity to start that planning process and really make that a priority for the new year. And of course, J.L. Perkins Wealth Management can help you with that. All right, Lee, we'll close it out on that note. Our final show of 2025. Really enjoyed working with you throughout the year. And hopefully we've taught some people some things and helped them take that next step towards their financial freedom.
Absolutely. Looking forward to a great 2026. Hey there, Lee Perkins here. If you're like a lot of folks, you've been listening to this podcast for a long time now. But I've got an important question for you. Have you implemented any of the ideas that we've discussed on the show? If you haven't, what are you waiting on? You know you're not getting any younger. So here's my challenge. Don't just consume the content. Our number one goal for this podcast is to help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement. So if you're ready to implement, take that first step today and visit www.talkwithjlp.com and schedule a 15-minute phone call with one of our advisors, and we'll help you close the gap between what you know and what you implement so you can enjoy the next phase of your life. Now is your time. Don't procrastinate any longer.
Investment advisory services are offered by J.L. Perkins Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor and insurance agency. Information is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Always consult with a qualified tax, legal, or investment professional before taking any action.